He pressed his little boy's hand against the cold store window, staring at the golden Christmas turkey they could never afford. The elegant woman watching from across the street had no idea this broke. Single dad was someone from her past. What she did next changed everything forever. Before you keep watching, like the video, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Daddy, look at that turkey. Tiny hands pushed so hard against the glass they left foggy prints on the frozen window. Tommy's eyes were huge, glued to the perfect roasted turkey covered in glazed fruit shining under the store lights. I know, buddy. It's real pretty, Jake said, voice heavy with the kind of tired only a single dad with empty pockets knows. He squeezed his son's hand like holding tight might somehow make the impossible come true. Are we going to have one like that for Christmas? The innocent question hit like a knife. Jake closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and tried not to fall apart right there on the busy Chicago sidewalk surrounded by shoppers carrying bags full of Christmas promises. Grandma's going to make something real special for us, he answered, dodging the promise he couldn't keep. But will there be turkey, Daddy? Look. He crouched down to Tommy's level. Sometimes Christmas isn't about the turkey, buddy. It's about being together, about loving each other. Tommy scrunched his nose the way kids do when adults try to sell them that it's okay really means we can't afford it. But Joey at school said they always have turkey and panettone. The little voice listed every wonder Jake couldn't give him. That's when Jake felt it, eyes on him. He turned slowly and his heart actually stopped 10 feet away. Standing like a statue in the middle of the rushing crowd was Sophia. Designer shopping bags hung from her arms, but her eyes weren't on the bags. They were locked on him, surprise, pain, anger, and something deeper he couldn't name. Time froze. Horns blared in the distance. Christmas music spilled from every store. But between them, everything was perfectly still. She moved first. Slow, careful steps, like she was approaching something that might explode. He saw her swallow hard, saw her knuckles go white gripping the handles of her bags. Jake? The word came out strangled, barely louder than the street noise. I didn't expect. She stopped, the sentence dying, heavy with everything unsaid. Tommy looked back and forth between the adults, sensing the storm the way kids do. Daddy, do you know her? Jake closed his eyes, breathed deep. When he opened them again, the emotion was so raw Sophia had to look away for a second. I did, he corrected. A long time ago, she repeated, voice bitter and fragile all at once. Silence fell thick, suffocating. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again, words wouldn't come. He held Tommy's hand like the boy was the only thing keeping him from drowning in feelings he'd buried years ago. We need to talk, she finally said, voice steady now. There's nothing to talk about. Yes, there is. No, he almost spat the word. You made your choice. I made mine. We're done. We're not done. Tears flashed in her eyes. You know we're not. You know it. I don't know anything. Then let me tell you. She did something that shocked him, reached out and handed him a business card. When you're ready to hear what I have to say, call me, please. Before he could refuse, Tommy, with that brutal innocence only kids have, grabbed it first. It's so pretty. It has her name, Daddy. Keep it. Not knowing what else to do, Jake took the card and shoved it deep in his pocket like evidence he needed to hide. We gotta go. He pulled Tommy away, maybe harder than he meant, because the boy whined, Ow, Daddy, you're hurting me. Sorry, buddy. He loosened his grip but didn't stop walking. Sophia stood on the sidewalk, bags weighing down her arms. Watching them disappear into the crowd, one tear finally escaped. She wiped it away angrily, but right there under the Christmas lights, she made a decision. She wasn't going to let him run again, but she wasn't going to chase him either. The next move had to be his. That night, in the quiet of her downtown penthouse, Sophia opened a closet she hadn't touched in years. The very back, dusty and forgotten, was a shoebox. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside were all the papers Jake had left behind when everything fell apart years ago. Deeds, certificates, old photos, love letters from when everything was new and full of promises. She cried over some of them, ink running where tears fell. Then she got up, grabbed a clean folder, and started organizing everything if he ever called, if he ever found the courage. She wanted to be ready. Meanwhile, across town in their tiny apartment, Jake walked in like a zombie. Grandma Rose took one look and knew. What happened? Nothing. Don't give me nothing. I've known you since the day you were born. He didn't answer, went straight to his room, threw the card in the nightstand drawer so hard the drawer wouldn't close. Tommy ran in. Grandma made soup. Come eat, Daddy. In a minute, bud. Are you gonna call the pretty lady? The question blindsided him. Why? Because she looked at you the same way you look at those old pictures you hide under the bed. Kids see everything. It's complicated, son. Why do grown-ups always say everything's complicated? Because it is. But it doesn't have to be. He hugged Tommy tight, hiding fresh tears in his son's hair. That night he didn't sleep. The card glowed faintly in the open drawer under the streetlight coming through the window. Calling meant admitting he'd never gotten over her. Calling meant reopening wounds he'd spent years trying to heal. Not calling meant more years of broken dreams and store windows he couldn't buy from. His fingers brushed the card, then pulled back. Not yet. Across the city, Sophia stared at the organized folder on her desk, checking her phone every 5 minutes. 2 broken hearts, miles apart, prisoners of pride and fear, while Christmas crept closer with its promise of miracles. How much pain does it take for pride to finally break? 2 days of torture. Jake stared at that card like it was a bomb. Grandma Rose saw everything, the sleepless nights, the shaking hands counting coins at the corner store. You need to talk to someone. I don't have anyone to talk to, Mom. Yes, you do. And you know who. Tommy kept asking about the pretty lady at the worst moments. Daddy, are you gonna call her? People only give their number when they want you to call. Kid logic, pure and unbreakable. On the third day, Grandma Rose made her move. While cleaning Jake's room, she saw the card in the half-open drawer. She remembered Sophia, the girl who used to bring flowers, wash dishes without being asked, talk recipes and dreams with an old lady. AT-72. Rose was too old to care about permission. She dialed, "Hello."
Sweetheart.
You remember me? Silence. Then an emotional whisper. Mrs. Rose? Of course I remember. I'm fine, darling. But my son isn't. And Rose told her everything. The odd jobs that barely paid rent. The construction sites that shut down in December. The little boy asking if they'd have turkey. The man working himself to death and still falling behind. He'll never forgive me for calling you, Rose said. But I'm too old to let his pride keep destroying his life. You two ran into each other for a reason. I believe that. On the other end, Sophia cried silently, holding the phone with both hands. You're the bravest woman I know. Thank you for trusting me. Just don't tell him I called yet. Let him think it was his idea. Men need to feel in control, even when they're not. They laughed through tears, two women who loved the same stubborn man. That night, something lit inside Sophia. She went to the office at 3 a.m. while Chicago slept and wrote a real, detailed job offer, not charity. A legitimate position managing construction and maintenance for her event company. She'd been looking for the right person for months. When she saw Jake at that window, she realized he was perfect for it. Creative, hands-on, problem solver, fair salary, clear responsibilities, benefits, everything professional. BY Sunrise, it was done, tucked into a folder with his old documents. Now she just needed him to call. Morning of day 4. Jake stood in line at the community center for a Christmas food basket. He looked at the tired faces around him and saw his future if nothing changed. His hand went to his pocket almost on its own. He borrowed his mom's phone. Fingers shaking, he typed the number from the card. It rang once. Twice. 3 times. He almost hung up. Hello. Her voice hit him like a freight train. You said we needed to talk. Pause. He swore he heard relief in her breath. Yes. Can we meet this afternoon? You remember that little cafe we used to go to? Like he could forget. The checkered tablecloths, fresh coffee smell, old photos of the neighborhood on the walls. I remember. 3 o'clock. Perfect. He hung up and stood there in line feeling like he'd just jumped off a cliff. 3 o'clock came, but he got there early. Waited across the street, heart hammering. Twice he started crossing. Twice he turned back. Then he saw her walking toward the cafe, same determined stride, but clutching 2 folders like a shield. Their eyes met across traffic. She waved him over. He crossed. Inside, the cafe hadn't changed. Same owner, same smell, same corner table by the window. "That table's free," she said softly. "I noticed." They sat, silence thick enough to touch. She slid the first folder across. "When you left a lot behind. I kept everything. Never could throw it away." He opened it slowly. Old photos, certificates, and there, the deed to his grandfather's little house on the south side he thought was lost forever. His throat closed. "Why did you keep all this?" "Because I had hope." Simple, raw, devastating. Then she slid the second folder over. "Since I saw you at that window, I put this together." He read. "A real job offer. Good salary. His exact skills." "It's not charity," she said before he could speak. "It's a real position I've needed filled for months. You're the best person for it." He looked up, eyes burning. "Why are you doing this?" "Because I remembered how good you are with your hands. How creative. How you solve problems nobody else sees. My company needs that. I need that." He wanted to be angry. Wanted to shout he didn't need pity. Instead he whispered, "I need to think about it. Take your time. But I need an answer by noon tomorrow. If it's not you, I have to keep looking." She stood to leave, then turned back. "That house. The deed is yours. It always was. I was just holding it until you were ready." Then she walked out. He stayed in the cafe for 2 more hours, reading every word 3 times. The owner finally said, "You two used to be so happy here. Second chances don't come around often." That night he laid everything on the kitchen table and told Grandma Rose. She read the offer carefully. "Son, this isn't charity. This is a lifeline. And that house. Your grandfather would be dancing in heaven. But accepting means admitting I failed. Accepting means admitting you're human." Tommy walked in sleepy, rubbing his eyes. "Daddy, are you crying?" "Yeah, buddy." "Why?" "Because sometimes grown-ups cry when they have to make really hard choices." Tommy hugged him tight. "The teacher says crying is good. It washes the sad out." Out of the mouths of babes. 5 o'clock the next morning. Jake gave up on sleep. He sat at the kitchen table with coffee and the offer in front of him. Grandma Rose found him there. "Your grandfather used to say pride is like salt. Right amount gives life flavor. Too much ruins the meal." He laughed for the first time in days. At 9 a.m. his ex-fiancée showed up at the door. The controlling one with money who tried to fix him. "Come back to me. I can give your son everything. A real home. A mother figure. I don't need fixing. And you never offered love. You offered control." She left furious. A nosy neighbor overheard snippets, and within hours the entire neighborhood knew Jake was dumping the mystery woman with the folders to go back to his rich ex. By 11 a.m., the rumor reached Sophia at the office. Her old employee Christina texted, "Everyone's saying he went back to his rich ex. Just thought you should know." Sophia's world spun. 11:50 a.m., 10 minutes to her deadline. She stared at her phone, ready to close the door forever. 11:55, 11:58, 11:59:59. Across town, Jake finally decided, yes. He grabbed the phone to call her. When a neighbor burst in, "Dude, the whole block thinks you went back to your ex. It's everywhere." Realization hit like lightning. He looked at the clock. 11:40. Here no money for the bus. Office clear across Chicago. He just ran. Lungs burning, legs screaming. A buddy saw him sprinting, heard the story, floored it, and drove him the rest of the way. 11:59. Sophia stared at her phone. "No call." "It's over," she whispered, voice breaking. The office door flew open. Jake stood there sweating, gasping, shirt soaked, hair wild. "I accept," he panted. "I accept the job. I want it. I want the chance. I'm sorry I'm late, but I accept." She stared, tears falling. I heard you went back to your ex. It's a lie. She showed up. I sent her away in 5 minutes. My choice has always been you. Always. Her business partner quietly closed the door, giving them privacy. You ran here. Partway. Gotta ride the rest. But yeah, I ran. Because I couldn't let noon pass without telling you yes. She laughed through tears. You're impossible. I know. But you showed up. I did. Sometimes life comes down to showing up. Sweaty, late, imperfect, but showing up. She stood, walked to him, and hugged him like she was afraid he'd vanish. Welcome to the team. Thank you for never giving up on me. I never gave up on you. I was just waiting for you to stop giving up on yourself. Christmas Eve arrived different that year. Sophia insisted Jake, Tommy, and Grandma Rose come to her house for dinner. At first Jake resisted pride's last gasp. But Grandma Rose shut it down. Son, you already ran across Chicago sweating for a job. Accepting dinner is easy. So they came. The table was simple but full of love. Tommy's eyes went wide at the roasted turkey in the center. Not the giant window one, but real, fragrant, perfect. We have a turkey, Daddy, a real Christmas turkey. Joy so pure it broke Jake all over again. Tears ran silently down his face. Why are you crying, Daddy? Aren't you happy? I'm happy, buddy. Sometimes we cry when we're really, really happy. Grandma Rose said grace, thanking God for food, for family, for meddling old ladies who make phone calls they're not supposed to, and for second chances. Jake looked at her. Mom, you called her, didn't you? Guilty. And I'd do it again. Everyone laughed. Later on the balcony under the stars, Jake took Sophia's hand. Thank you for keeping my grandfather's house safe, for the job, for not giving up. I kept the house because it's yours. I offered the job because I need you. The company needs you. And maybe I need you too. He smiled, eyes soft. We'll take it slow, one day at a time. No pressure. Just trying. Deal. Christmas morning, Tommy ran through the house like it was Disney World. Over simple breakfast, Jake looked around the table and realized, family isn't just blood, it's the people who choose to stay when it's hard, who hand you a business card, who make an illegal phone call, who drive you across the city when you're running late on purpose. It's the people who refuse to let pride win. That Christmas, 5 lives changed forever. A man learned accepting help is strength, not weakness, that a woman learned. Holding hope isn't foolish, it's faith. A grandmother proved love sometimes means meddling. The little boy got his Christmas turkey and a future full of light. And a whole neighborhood accidentally helped create a tiny miracle. Because in the end, it's never the big gestures that change everything. It's the business card, the phone call, the desperate run across the city, the hand finally taken. Your second chance is out there too. Don't wait until noon. Run. Show up, sweaty, scared, imperfect, but show up. Because the best stories aren't about people who had it all together. They're about people who found the courage to try again.